In this video, I'm going to go through the all-new plastic models from OnePageRules in this inexpensive two-player starter box, and they're already assembled too. This big new box from some other company came out recently, Arma something. I don't know. It's like $300 or something. It's not important. Anyway, what is important is a new two-player starter box from our friends over at OnePageRules. They were a vendor at my little Wargaming Expo a few weeks ago, the Tabletop Minions Expo, or TMX for short, and they were selling both the large two-player army box called Broken Truth, which I talked about painting the pre-production version of that box that they sent me actually last year, Pachow, and they were also selling the new, cheaper version, which I have here in my hands. Full disclosure, they gave me this copy at the show. They still had a few left at the end, but they had sold out of the bigger Broken Truth boxes during the expo. That said, these thoughts are all my own, of course, and they also didn't see this video before it went live and no money changed hands and all that stuff, etc., right? The standard boilerplate stuff. I mainly just want to go through the box and let you know what it includes, because this is a box that you can actually buy in stores now. Distributors like ACD and Southern Hobby carry it here in the States, and there's a whole bunch of distributors that carry it overseas. So if you're interested, ask your local store to order it for you if they're not already carrying it. All right, so we're going to go through this. It was shrink wrapped, but I took the shrink wrap off because I had to shoot some video of the outside of the box, some cool, B-roll, and the cellophane is very reflective, so I took it off already. But otherwise, I'm kind of opening it up pretty much for the first time. So this is the Grimdark Future box, and it says on it, if I can get there, two-player starter set, sci-fi miniature wargame. And on the back, you get to see what comes in the box. So in this box, you get the Splizzards and the Robots. So technically, these guys are called the Sorian Starhost, or Sorian. It's like Dinosaurian. They're Sorian Starhost. They're basically Splizzards, space lizards. And you get a Sorian Veteran. You get a Psychic Gecko. Technically, it says Gecko Psychic, but whatever. I think Psychic Gecko is the name of my alt-rock band. And then you get 10 geckos with shields and pistols. You get 10 of the Sorian warriors with slightly bigger pistols and bigger sword things. And then you get 3 of the gator guys, and they have rocket launchers on their shoulders, which all the best gators have rocket launchers on their shoulders. You also get, over here, a Technomancer, not Vince EV, just a regular Technomancer. You get an Overseer, you get 3 of the bot swarms, you get 10 robot warriors with Gauss rifles, you get 10 robot guardians with shields and swords, and you get a big honkin' Forge Spider. Everything you see here is in the box and it's already built, except this big spider is not on the base, and that's more of a choice. You don't have to put it on the base if you don't want to. I do with mine, but yeah. But that's actually the only type of gluing or anything like that you're going to have to do in this box. It also comes with, so it's 51 minis total, comes with a 20-page quick start guide. There's also 68 tokens, there's the core rules, there's 2 rulers, 20 dice, a playmat, and even cardboard terrain, which you can see here, right? So all this stuff comes in this box for $120 American. All right, so we're going to open it. And the first thing we're going to see is a lot of instruction booklets. Oh, because they're in different languages. Oh, I'm like, geez, that's a lot of instructions. But it's actually in English, French, German, Spanish, I think. That I'm pretty sure is Polish and Italian. Yes. So I only can speak the one language, so I'm going to pull out the English version of the Quick Start Guide. And in it, you're going to have basically everything you need to know. And it's not like this is the Quick Start Guide where it tells you, well, this is how you paint stuff and this is the lore and things like that. There's a little tiny bit of lore here on the front page. But otherwise, what it is instead is it's basically kind of like the advanced rules. If you go online and buy the advanced rule book, the PDF or whatever, which costs like $5 normally, it's that. It just doesn't seem to have any of the expansion type stuff. If you buy the normal rules, like I said, the $5 rules online, you get like, I don't know, 18, 19 pages of like rules and stuff. And then after that, it's all like modular add-ons. Well, do you want to add like command points? Do you want to add this? Do you want to add that? There's all these different things. This doesn't have that, but it does have more than just the regular core rules. But I think the core rules are in here as well, also probably in zillions of languages. Yeah. So here's the core rules. So if you ever go online and just say, I want to download the free rules, you get this. It's OnePageRules because it's one page of paper, but it's technically both sides. But nonetheless, this is the incredibly simple rules. This is the slightly less simple rules with some other stuff built into it. You also get that in a bunch of different languages. And then over here, you have some instructions. So there's the starter set. It shows you all the terrain you're going to get in there and tokens and stuff like that. This is more the full set, which I think is the Broken Truth bigger box. The bigger box has considerably more models, more terrain, more everything, and that one's $220, whereas this one, like I said, is $125. And yeah, so you get all this stuff, and then also it does show you like, oh, if stuff is bent a little bit, some hot water will fix it. If you do need to glue some stuff, you can do that. And again, multiple languages. So it's really nice for that kind of stuff. Then we have a mat, which I believe is a right around 4x4. It's paper, but it's like a slightly thicker, glossier paper. Well, it's glossy on this side a little bit more than it seems to be on this side, which is nice. I don't think I want a glossy surface. It's not double-sided. It's white on one side and, printed on the other. But it comes in the package, so you have a place to play right out of the box. You don't have to have a play mat or anything set up like that. And it's got, ruins and stuff like that printed on there. Looks nice. I'm not going to unfold it here because then I'll never be able to get it back together again. Then we've got our little tokens. We've got a bunch of them. We've got what look like objective tokens here. We've got our rulers here. They're 6-inch rulers. We've got all kinds of other tokens. These are double-sided, so you get to have, both things going on if you want to go down that road, which is cool. And then we get into terrain. So this is all printed cardboard terrain, double-sided, full color, and you kind of slot it together to make this stuff, which I think looks really cool. It's not MDF, it's not super fancy, but it's a decent amount of quick terrain to throw into your game until, you start getting your own stuff that you want to start using. This is heading into the plastics now. You will see that there's these trays that have all the models in it. Here are our bot swarms for the Robot Legions guys, if I can get them out. These are the bot swarms. They're pretty cool. Focus. Thank you. I really enjoyed painting these guys when I did these. I have already painted the entire Broken Truth Robot Legions side. I've only painted a little bit so far of the Splizzards, of the Sorian Starhosts side. I've done a unit of the 10 geckos, and then I did the gators with the big shoulder pad rocket launchers. But these guys I've already all painted, and I can show you some footage of that right here. They're a lot of fun. So these models are, like I said, already set up, and they are, if they'll focus, they're already glued to bases, or they're just all one part of bases. I don't even think they're necessarily glued. There's maybe a little bit in mold lines, but not a ton. I can see a little bit here and there, but not too much. Everything looks like it's in pretty good shape. The detail looks pretty good. Like there's a little bit, like I would say, frankly, that these are better than most like board game type miniatures. The folks from OnePageRules, they're at TMX, mentioned what they're made out of. These are, originally I was told that they were going to be made out of something called hard PVC, but they've pivoted to a different type of plastic, and I cannot remember what it is off the top of my head. So I'm going to put it here on the screen when I go and I ask them to remind me because I didn't write it down. Anyway, I really liked what I liked to do on these guys was I went through and I put texture on all of their capes to make their capes look kind of more ragged, and I thought that was a lot of fun. So in this first tray, you're going to get 10 of the warriors with the Gauss guns, Gauss rifles, and you're going to get the 10 of these guys. These guys are the Crusaders? No, what the heck are they called? They're not, I can't remember now. Guardians. So yeah, 10 warriors, 10 guardians, and then also you get the 3 of the bot swarms, and then these guys, their bosses are in the next tray down. And in the next tray down, which is covered in a plastic clear thing, that was fun, you now get our friends, the lizards. So, again, here's our lizard guys. Now you can see this guy's sword, when you look at it dead on, is a little bent. Just needs to go this way a little bit. The main way to fix that, the way I have always done it with any kind of plastics or along these lines, is you get yourself like a mug, and you either have a kettle, if you're, or you put it in the microwave with some water. You put hot water in it. Not so hot that it's boiling, but near that, right? And then you just carefully, don't burn yourself, you dip the model in there, and then you pull it out, and then you kind of just put it back where you want and make it straight. And then you have another mug that's got cold water in it. You dunk it in there, and that pretty much locks it in place. I've never had trouble when I've had to do that in the past. And so, yeah, these guys work pretty well that way. But they're nice looking models. They've got just as much detail as the ones that I got that were pre-production ones. The ones that I got, some of them were 3D prints and some of them were this hard PVC. None of them, I don't think, were in this material as far as I know. And it's the material, again, on the screen. And but it's got really nice detail, and I don't see a lot in the way of mold lines. Again, this is the first I'm looking at these production versions. And they're like not glued to the base, they're part of the base, which is pretty cool. And they go back in these little trays nicely. So we've got 10 of the bigger kind of lizard warrior type guys with the close combat weapon and the big pistol. And then you've also got 10 of these here space geckos, right? With the shields and their pistols, which are pretty cool. I really enjoyed painting these guys up. I haven't painted any of the bigger Saurians except for the gators, but I painted up 10 of the geckos, and they're pretty cool. This is your leader, right? For the, well, he's one of the leaders. There's 2 leaders for each team, right? So this is one of your leaders for the lizards. The other one has, his staff is pretty bent, so you're going to want to fix that with some hot water. But otherwise, he's like a cool psychic gecko dude, right? And then the other 2 leaders for the robots are your Technomancer, who I've also painted in the past, and he's a lot of fun. I did a lot of glow effects on his cool giant spearhead thing. And then there's also the other one, which is called the Overseer, who has like kind of a big, well, not a big sword, but he's got like a short sword and a cool pistol thing, right? And then we've got our, oh, these guys you do have to glue on. I'm sorry. All right, so that's why they showed in the design that you need to glue these guys on. But I didn't think that was the case. I knew about the big robot spider, but I didn't know these guys need to be glued on. But these are your big gators, and they have the very cool shoulder pad rocket launcher things. These guys were also some forces that I've already painted. They're a lot of fun. But yeah, you can just glue them straight to the base and then texture your bases. I like to texture all my bases kind of the same way, but you can do it however you want. But yeah, turns out those guys were not glued on. They're just sitting there. Also, all the bases say on the bottom, you can see it here. Come on. OnePageRules. All the bases have that on the bottom, and it's kind of neat. I don't know. I don't know why I think it's neat, but I think it's neat. And then lastly, we've got our big spider. Again, not glued to the base. You could glue them probably, I would probably do it like this, but I guess you could also do it like that. I don't know if it matters which way you glue them, whether you glue them this way or this way. But either way, again, OnePageRules logo on the bottom. That's pretty cool. I don't know what's going on with this camera, but it doesn't want to focus lately. It's really neat. Makes me happy. All right, cool. Anyway, believe me when I say, there we go, look at you. It's really hot up here right now, so I apologize. I'm a bit moist and I'm angry with my camera. But yes, so this big guy is, this guy was also a ton of fun to paint. I did a lot of glow effects on this guy too. And yeah, I think that it's something that probably you could also have a lot of fun with. Again, you're going to glue just these tiny little tips to that thing, so you might want to use a pretty good glue, but they do say in the instructions that you should use super glue and not plastic cement, because I don't think that plastic cement will work with this. This is not HIPS, high impact polystyrene. I think it's a mixture of that with something else. Like you said, I was told and then I forgot, so yeah, right there on the screen. But that's pretty much it, I think, unless there's something else in the bottom of the box. Nope, just box. All right, so 10 geckos, 10 big lizards, 3 even bigger lizards with rocket launchers. Then you also get 2 leaders for that group. For the robots, you get 10 warriors, 10 guardians, 2 leaders, and a big robot spider. All told, each force comes to between 800 and 900 points. When I was looking at the back of the box, I went into Army Forge and I went through and tried to figure out the point levels, and they're both between 800, 900 points. You can sort of tweak them with different like powers and things like that. You know, if you pick the weapons WYSIWYG as they are on the models, that's your range. But then you can give special abilities to maybe some of the leaders. You can do stuff like that, which will then slide your points one way or the other. This box with these 2 trays in it, this is, like I said, you're nearly at 1,000 points. You just add maybe another thing or two to your army. If it's a vehicle, then you'll be able to go even farther because, again, in OnePageRules stuff, vehicles are really expensive points-wise. They always are. It's because you should be afraid of vehicles. It's not like, what is that, a rhino, a chimera, whatever, I'm going to shoot my pistol at it. That's not the way it works in OnePageRules. In OnePageRules, vehicles, even simple light transports, are scary. So that's why they're also a lot more points. So you could easily start 2,000 point armies very quickly with this box and maybe just a little bit of extra stuff. And they turn out really, really nice. They're cool models. You're not going to have to go in and build them. If anything, you might go through and scrape a mold liner here. But again, in this light, I can't really see any in the mold lines, but I'm sure there's probably some there. You know what I mean? But they're pretty slight. They're not egregious in any way. That's for sure. So if you're a person like me who's kind of tired of having to build models as much as Games Workshop sometimes wants you to do with the amount of parts that they are, I'm either preferring to work with stuff like Frostgrave, Stargrave, Wargames Atlantic, simpler models to build, or stuff like this, or stuff that's 3D printed that I rarely have to build at all. So again, that's everything that comes in the new 2-player starter box from OnePageRules. Now, like I said, this box is $120, while the bigger 2-army box, which is called Broken Truth, says it on the front of the box, that one is $220 and has considerably more models in it, including like a big lizard riding on a Tyrannosaurus, a big 3-legged spider walker thing, and some other stuff, and also just more troops as well. Now, both this box and the Broken Truth box are available now, and you can see if your local store can get them, from their distributors. Again, the distributors are, that I was told here in the States, ACD and Southern Hobby. So if your store works with either one of those, they can probably order them and get it shipped to you, or you can just go online and find them online over there. Are you interested in these models, or are you using like OPR's massive 3D printing library to print your armies? Or are you just using models that you already have to play Grimdark Future? Let us all know down in the comments below. And some depressmentation of the like button or the hype button, if you're on mobile, would also help as well. Maybe it'll make it cooler in here, but probably not. While you're down there pushing buttons, there's also one that says subscribe, and if you're not subscribed already, you can do it. It's free, and you'll see more videos like this every single Friday pushed in front of your eyeballs. Thanks for watching.